channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows for the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment. Log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
I don't care anymore whether they work together or not. I have nothing I need to hide.
You betrayed me, Mariela. You betrayed your friend.
Now he's looking at me with so much love. And who knows, perhaps this wish will be granted.
He's innocent, Carmen. I know that he didn't do anything to deserve this. Nothing.
Eduardo has a lover.
You finally found my daughter. Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
FM ilayska ummadda.
Perfect way to start your week. Good morning. This is KBC Channel 1. My name is Victor Olo. We hope that you had a great weekend. It's the day that over 1.2 million pupils will be sitting for their KCPE examination across the country. Of course, this comes at a time when the education calendar was mainly disrupted by the corona pandemic, but then everything will soon come to a close and we'll go back to our normal school calendar. While that is happening, we wish all the candidates the best in the exam. This takes us way back into the years when we also sat for the papers. There's nothing new under the sun. I know most students are not watching this program, but remember that we are with you as you sit. But then, many stakeholders across particular regions in this country, more so in the Rift Valley where there are chaos and conflicts there. The government said that everything has been put in place to ensure that all the pupils will attend to their papers effectively. But then, something is happening. Have you ever noticed that the price of refilling a gas has gone so high? A majority of people who use the 6 kg cylinder will have to pay more than 1,500 shillings to refill. So you can imagine. It's flashed here in the papers. I will tell you why. But Ruby says that it's because of the conflict between Ukraine and Russia. So tough times ahead. But anyway, we have got a good show lined up for you. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning. Starting with you, Jane. How are you?
I am well.
Perfect.
Absolutely thrilled to be with you this day. Thank you for choosing to start your morning with us here on KBC Channel 1. As always, we have a beautiful show lined up for you. I am Jenny Boy, and Victor, you are rightfully putting it. This is something in regards to the heightened petroleum product prices. It is something that was actually warned by experts a while back, so we'll be looking at how that will play out. Welcome once again, Doreen.
And a beautiful morning to you. I mean, it's tough time. There's a day that Regina said if in your house you have 5 liters of cooking oil, then wewe unafaa utuambie wewe unatoka wapi. But yeah, it is. You just brace yourself because sometimes it's barely so much you can do as a Kenyan. Nonetheless, just as my colleagues have mentioned, we have a packed up show for you this Monday morning on the 7th of March. And on the roads this morning, we go all the way to Kisumu County. Remember that sugar belt that was commissioned by the president mid-2021? Yes, that is the Kisumu Muhoroni Mamboleo Road. So this morning, we look at that and the economic benefit that that particular route has and why it has become so necessary to rehabilitate the entire stretch around that area. That will be your focus this morning. Many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okelo. Regina.
Good morning. Being March 7th, 2022, the day that 1.2 million candidates are expected to sit for the KCP exam. We have reporters, in different parts of the country just to bring us up to speed with what is happening during this particular national examinations that the Education Cabinet Secretary, George Magoha, who is in Kakamega County, says that the ministry is ready to conduct the examinations and no candidate will be missing this particular examination. We're going to be showing you some live pictures of what is happening. We have Nancy Okware in Westlands as well as Wycliffe in Kisumu, where we understand various cabinet secretaries as well as PSs are in this particular exercise, just overseeing that these examinations get underway and in good time. Once we are ready, we are going to be linking up with my colleagues down in the various counties and towns, so to speak, as well as centers when we're having this particular examinations. We want to wish all the candidates who are going to be writing their exams beginning today all the best of luck in the examinations, just looking at, where you're from and, the transition from 844 system to CBC. Now we will be bringing you the live pictures when we are up and ready. And also we have so much lined up for you in as far as news is concerned, looking at the political matrix and what has been happening over the weekend, as well as matters of crime and what others would say is a way to silence Manchester United there. Yesterday we were humbled by that game against Manchester City, but nonetheless, viva Manchester United. The truth is, we need to pull our socks. Now, remember, further details are still available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke, and our official station handle, being KBC Channel 1, is open to your feedback. Without further ado, let us look at those stories that have been making headlines in the last 24 hours. Now, an estimated 1.2 million candidates are going to be sitting the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations today, and the exercise will be preceded by the opening of exam containers at 6 a.m. this morning by various senior government officials across the country. We're expecting live footage, but this is what Moki compiled ahead of today.
8 pupils will finally put pen to paper beginning Monday in the first of 2 national primary school examinations lined up this year. The Ministry of Education is hoping to ensure a seamless exercise, which will begin with the opening of exam containers by various government officials at 6 a.m. countrywide. 1,225,693 candidates registered for the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education examinations. Earlier this week, the Ministry of Education said all measures have been put in place to curb cheating and ensure the protection of candidates writing their papers in volatile areas.
Now, that was yesterday. Let me show you what has been happening from 6 a.m. at Westlands, where Nancy Okware has just been keeping tabs on what is happening, especially, the rollout of these particular examinations. We understand PS Kibisho is already there. However, reports also coming down from Westlands sub-county there. As you can see, that is the exercise underway there, the opening up of the containers there, supervised by various senior government officials. The PS is down there, that is PS Interior Kibisho there. We are going to be keeping tabs of this particular exercise. Remember, the government has come out clear to say that nothing is going to stop these particular examinations. There's been queries into, the state of affairs when it comes to matters of the teachers' strike. The notice that they had issued. There's also the issue of insecurity in various parts of the country, in particular Baringo, Kerio Valley area, and the leaders coming out to say that this needs to be looked into so that those children are not disadvantaged owing to the insecurity. Now, taking you away from Westlands at the DCC, we take you to Kisumu, where the exercise, the opening up of the boxes, or rather the containers, is underway. We have Wycliffe, who is bringing us those live pictures from Kisumu County. So we expect that this process is going to be as seamless as government has promised in the last, few months there. In the event that there are going to be any developments, well, KBC crew is on hand to bring you up to speed. For all the very best. Remember, our communication lines are open on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. You can see a majority of you have already gotten online and are sending the best of wishes to various candidates that they know. Let me take this opportunity to also follow that through. We have Faith Keaton, Jeruto Chebiwo, and All Bethany Brighter Academy from Elder Maravin, all the best. We also have Madam Grace Morara, the director of Prince of Peace Junior Academy, wishing the candidates all the best. We have Pauline Wasonga from Thiwa Primary, all the best in your examinations today. Tiny Jackton from Kimalel Primary School, all the best as you sit your exams. Grace Morara from All Peace Academy, as well as Tony Suleiman from Atela Primary, all the best as you sit your examinations, including all the other candidates that are going to be taking their exams beginning today. Now, moving away from matters of education, we cross over to matters of security, where investigations into the gruesome murder of a 66-year-old businessman in Juja, Kiambu County have commenced. Sudhir Shah, the director of Ndarugo Plantations, was reportedly shot twice near the plantation in Juja on Saturday by unknown assailants aboard a motorbike. According to detectives, Shah was in the company of 8 other people when he was shot dead.
It is here where the late Sudhir Shah was shot on Saturday at midday, a few meters from the Ndarugo Plantations, where he is the director. Detectives have so far cordoned off the place as investigations into the attack begin. Shah is said to have been in the company of a fellow director and 7 other team members of the plantation whom he had convened a meeting with before the incident.
Later they came where we are studying for further deliberations, and in the process a motorcycle appeared with 2 passengers. One of the passengers was armed with a pistol. One of the officers who was accompanying the directors engaged the attackers. A fire exchange ensued, and one of the directors was injured.
Shah, who was the only one injured, was immediately rushed to hospital in Thikana, where he unfortunately succumbed to grave injuries.
Statements were documented from the witnesses, and the investigations are going on to unearth what exactly transpired and to bring the suspect to face the law.
Detectives say it is still not clear who the attackers are, neither the motive of the shooting.
We have involved various sections at the DCI headquarters. We have the ballistics, we have the homicide unit, we have the crime scene investigations. We also involve the Crime Research and Intelligence Bureau, as well as the investigation branch.
The investigation team has, however, urged members of the public to volunteer and share any crucial information that may assist in unearthing what transpired.
Tabs on that. Now, the owner of the collapsed building in Kinol, Kiambu County, has been given 24 hours to demolish the structure. The building caved in and leaned onto an adjacent residential apartment on Sunday night, forcing tenants to evacuate for safety. Now, the National Construction Authority says it has launched investigations into the near tragedy to ascertain whether rules were followed in the construction.
It was meant to stay up 5 stories above ground. but now an adjacent pillar in providing a temporary shoulder to lean on, as the owner scrambles to beat a 24-hour ultimatum to bring it down block by block.
Our team of engineers from a multi-sectoral team of engineers from the county government, the National Building Inspectorate, the Engineering Board of Kenya, and the National Construction Authority will be supervising that process.
It is a sight that has become a commonplace in the region.
Nisikia mgurumo. Nikashindwa ni nini na guruma, nikajaribu kufungua gate kutoka nje, nikaona vumbi. So kuangalia nikaona kama vumbi ikawa ni kubwa, vumbi mingi sana. Sasa sikuelewa ni nini.
Just months after yet another building came tumbling down a few kilometers away. According to initial investigations, the building had a weak foundation and the materials used didn't meet the requirements of putting up such a monstrosity.
What I've just seen just from there has to be an issue with foundation and even the columns. But as to know the particular cause or causes of the collapse, we have to do an investigation.
It's an engineering exercise. They need to be supervised by engineers, but they'll give us a contractor who can do that work, a different contractor from the one who was doing construction. And we are going to supervise the works.
Authorities say they will seek to establish what caused the building to collapse.
Most of the developers do not have engineers with them, either through the design process, where they just get some people who stamp, some wrong engineers who do stamp and approve drawings and are not involved in the supervision, or they disengage the qualified and properly registered engineers.
But as investigations get underway, tenants in the adjacent building are forced to seek alternatives and allow their block lend a shoulder for now.
Kwa sasa tunangoja serikali kama inaweza kuingia kidogo ikuje iondoe hii nyumba.
Umeniambia ni director gani anaongea?
Kama haingekuwa nyumba nyingine, hii nyumba yote ingekuwa chini.
Quite unfortunate there. I hope we get to the bottom of that. That's an investment and lives were in danger. Now we stick to matters politics, where Deputy President William Ruto is in London from Washington, D.C. Now the Deputy President was received by Kenyan Ambassador to London, Manoa Isipisu, and is expected to have several high-profile meetings for the next 3 days.
Thank you. After concluding his tour in United States of America, Deputy President William Ruto arrived in United Kingdom Sunday morning for a 3-day visit. Ruto was received by Kenya's ambassador to UK, Manoa Isipisu, and is set to hold meetings with UK government officials and Kenyans in diaspora. And as the Deputy President continues with his tour abroad, his allies were in Uasin Gishu.
We need serious prayers in this country. Na zaidi ya hayo maombi yote, muzidizie maombi rais wetu Uhuru Kenyatta. Kwa sababu ile barabara anatupeleka ni barabara tulitoka miaka mingi sana iliyopita. Kenya ni nchi huru, nchi demokrasia, kila mtu ana ruhusa kwenda kwa kanisa kutoa matoleo, kwenda kwa kisiasa kufuata mwenye anataka kufuata bila kushurutishwa na mtu yote.
The leaders speaking against what they perceive as government's attempt to curtail democracy.
We are watching what we are doing and we will march you head on. Kwa sababu tutalimana na nyinyi na afadhali tuambie where next. It is not that you will beat us in an election. All we are telling you is we need free and fair general election.
The UDA MPs demand credible general elections, expressing confidence that they will win.
Today is day one of the KCP examinations, and we're keeping tabs on, the process. Now I take you back to Kisumu County, where our reporter Wycliffe is bringing us up to speed with what is happening. Currently speaking is the Acting County Director of Education, Kisumu, Mr. Arita. Let's have a listen in.
Ongon has just said, let us give a chance to our children to display what they have learned. There is no point in trying to assist the child. In fact, that is not assisting, that is just messing up with the child. Because when this child is going to treat a patient, where will they be stealing the information from when they become doctors? So I would appeal for every parent, every teacher to allow the children achieve what they can. The exam, as it's been said, is a death issue. You don't become useless by just failing KCPE. So let us allow the children to display what they know. Thank you very much. Yes.
Now from Kisumu County there, where the acting county director Kisumu, Mr. Arita, was addressing issues of, cheating. We take you back to Westlands. Let's have a listen in where Nicholas Mayo, the national chairman of the Parents Association, is speaking.
They don't do the exams today or this week or this month, then I know that there will never be a special examination for them. And I know examination in Kenya is very important for our children. So we are still calling upon the security agencies, especially in those areas, Baringo, Tegerio, and Lamu, to see to it that all the children and the teachers are provided by the security agencies.
Malpractices is something we've always been saying it's a matter of the past. The ministry is prepared to tackle that issue.
I think this year, 2021, we will not have any cheating because malpractices has been there since maybe the last time we had was 2016, a bit of it 2017. But 2021, from 2017 going forward, we've never had any cheating. If there is, very minimal. But I know that this time around we will not have any problem. Still, I know some of our daughters, some are in hospitals, but I'll assure the parents that whether your child is in hospital or prison because they did some school unrest, they will still sit for the national exam because NEC has provided for that space. So don't be worried because your child will do examination this year.
Thank you, sir.
Now, those are live pictures from Westlands, where Nancy Okwara is keeping tabs on what is happening in as far as the KCP examinations is concerned. Speaking there was Nicholas Mayo, the national chairman, Parents Association, just giving his thoughts on the issue of cheating in these national examinations at a time when the Ministry of Education has assured all stakeholders, including parents, that this is going to be seamless and it's going to be a transparent exercise. Also, the issue of security there, especially in areas of Kerio Valley and Baringo, where schools were closed and children had to vacate to their families for their safety. We'll be keeping tabs on that as KCP enters day one. Now we cross over to matters politics, where the National Assembly Speaker and presidential aspirant Justin Muturi is calling for tolerance and peace during the campaign season. Muturi noted that a sustained acrimony and name-calling would lead to the country's instability.
Speaking after a church service at St. James Cathedral, SEK, in Kiambu Town, Democratic Party presidential flag bearer Justin Muturi said it was unfortunate for leaders to publicly quarrel at the expense of those who elected them into office.
Naamini kwamba ni vizuri tuwe na taifa ambalo linahubiri sana heshima kwa kila mmoja, na nimesema mara kwa mara, hata kama sehemu hii tunaita ya Mlima Kenya, tafadhali tuwe watu ambao tunaangazia peace na unity.
This comes as Supreme Council of Kenya Muslim SUPKEM has called on political leaders to shun negative political rhetoric that can divide the nation and lead to violence.
We call upon the state institutions, including IEBC, NCIC, and the Office of the DPP, and the DCI, to spotlight perpetrators of hate speech and take firm and appropriate action in accordance with the law. We call upon the President of the Republic of Kenya, as the head of state and a symbol of national unity, to ensure that the country remains united and ensure peaceful transition.
Hatutaki tuyarudie hayo mambo tena. Kwa hivyo
tunaomba wananchi wote, hasa vijana wetu, wasitumiwe na viongozi wa kisiasa.
Elsewhere, the Service Party TSP leader and former Agriculture Cabinet Secretary Mwangi Kiunjuri, who is eyeing the Laikipia East parliamentary seat, has said his party will enter into coalition with other political parties after the August 9th general elections.
Sasa tumekaribia uchaguzi na wakati huu tunataka kujipanga kama chama cha TSP na kupanga wafuasi wetu. Manake kuna mambo ambayo lazima tuzungumzie kabla ya uchaguzi kufika na kupeana kura zetu.
Meanwhile, a section of community leaders in Siaya County have accused veteran politicians from the area of clinging to elective posts and hindering the possibility of the young generation venturing in leadership.
Kila mara katika kaunti ya Siaya kumekuwa na viongozi wenye wamekula chumvi kidogo. Si kwamba ni wabaya, bali tungependa raundi kijana tuongoze ili tuone manufaa ya vijana pia, na pia mahitaji ya vijana ishughulikiwe vilivyo.
We really acknowledge his past political contributions to the people of Siaya County. Nevertheless, we do urge him to pave way for young and energetic leaders, since this will also give the youth hope that they can also be tomorrow's leaders.
From matters politics, let's take you back to Westlands, where PS Interior Engineer Karanja Kibisho is addressing the public on matters KCP.
Schools, because we have a security meeting this morning. I can go to Nairobi Primary.
What's your assurance to the parents, especially in Bungoma County, that they're facing the insecurity situation? Just an assurance to the parents that it's all systems good.
Yes, I think we have quite a number of places that of late we have seen some insecurity situations. One of them, of course, is around Baringo, the Kerio Valley Belt. We have seen some insecurities in Isiolo and a bit of Meru that neighbors Isiolo. But those are issues that the Ministry of Interior is dealing with every day. What we are doing is for counties like Baringo is to ensure that at the school itself there is enhanced security in each of the schools. It's unlike here where the security officers just escort and they don't necessarily have to keep guard the whole exam period. There is a lot of escorting of students also when the security agencies are called upon to just ensure that the kids also have safe movement between their homes and schools. But really the enhancement of security around those areas is a matter that is high on our priority. Good. Thank you very much.
Are the live pictures from Westlands there, where PS Interior Engineer Kibisho was addressing the press as well as various stakeholders on day one of the KCP examinations, where we expect 1.2 candidates to be taking their exams. Some of the issues that have been highlighted is a challenge of, accessing these insecure places, Baringo, the Kerio Valley Belt, Isiolo there, and some parts of Meru there, where the PS ensured, or rather, has assured the parents and students on candidates there that they're going to get the examinations and actually sit for these crucial examinations. We'll be keeping tabs on what is happening on day one of the KCP examinations. We expect that the Education Cabinet Secretary is down in Kakamega County, while ICTCS Joe Moshero is in Kajiado overseeing that particular exercise. We are open to your feedback. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. Now, away from matters of education, let's cross over to the sporting arena, where President Uhuru Kenyatta announced that the government will sponsor junior amateur golfer Mutahi Kibogo to the Sudol Open scheduled for May in Belgium. President Kenyatta was speaking at the Muthaiga Golf Club during the award ceremony of the 2022 Magical Kenya Open.
After
After being the first Kenyan amateur to make the cut at the Kenya Open Golf Championship in 11 years, President Uhuru Kenyatta has said that junior amateur Njoroge Kibugu will receive support to participate in the Soudal Open in Belgium this May. Speaking at the Muthaiga Golf Club during the award ceremony of the 53rd Magical Kenya Open, the head of state added that the support will not only cover Kibugu's cost of the event, but his training program.
We will sponsor him to go to the Soudal Open in Belgium, between the 12th and the 15th of May, and as I told you, Njoroge, I hope your folks give you permission. But we will also support his transition to professional golf, and that will include supporting him with his trainers.
The president added that his government will support the legacy program of the Junior Golf Foundation.
And as a government, and in appreciation of the sterling position golf has assumed in our society, and also to motivate our legendary and budding golfers, we have been setting aside close to $2.5 million every year towards organizing these world-class events and supporting the prize purse, and this we have done for the last 5 years.
Kibugu was awarded with a silver salver for being the best placed amateur. He carded a final round of 6 over par 77 for a total of 2 over par 286.
Couldn't get anything going. Putts weren't dropping. Had unlucky breaks on 1 and 10. Was right next to a root and then next to a tree. But the fans were amazing. I appreciate everyone who came to watch, and I'm grateful.
Ashun Wu of China won the championship. A final round of 6 under par 65 for a total of 16 under par 268. Wu's previous rounds were 69, 68 and 66. He walked away with a top prize of 297,500 euros, equivalent to 37.3 million shillings. He also received a trophy and the winner's red jacket.
It's not an easy course. I mean, it's a tough course. You have to find a right way to play and keep the ball on the fairway and find the right side to keep your ball on the right side, and you might have a good chance. Otherwise, it's tough.
Meanwhile, the government has committed to keep the Magical Kenya Open as a DP World Tour event for another year, with 2023 tournaments slated for Muthaiga.
That was indeed a great weekend for us when talking about what happened in the boxing arena, where an all-African UBA super bantamweight winner, Gabriel Ochieng, has been quoted here having only 2 minutes to dispense off Tanzanian Mbaruk Sokwe Suleimani and win the all-African Universal Boxing Organization super bantam weight title. Further details on stories that have been making headlines, including sports, business, and what is happening in matters politics, are available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. Before we get into looking at what has been happening over the weekend in as far as matters of politics are concerned, let's have a sneak peek onto how our major routes are looking like this morning. Have a pleasant viewing. I'm Regina Manyara.
Please drop the charges against my brother.
He tried to kill me. There's no way I'm dropping the case.
Get a divorce. Leave here for good. You should leave now. Get out of my house. Leave now. Leave. Where are you going? Go. Grabbed hold of Jack's shirt and tried to push him off the building. It was the most horrible thing
Go to the police station and drop the charges. And also go to Pinky's to beg for their forgiveness.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections.
Six minutes past 7 a.m. Before we start on our first conversation this Monday morning, how about we look at that sugar belt? I'm talking about this particular route. This is the Kisumu Muhoroni Mamboleo Road. If you can remember, in 2018, when the president was making his tours around the Nyanza part of the country, and particularly in Kisumu, this is one of those areas that he said needed to be expedited in terms of rehabilitation, given the fact that it is one of those instrumental roads as it pertains to the economic growth of this country. Well, that took some bit of time up until October there of 2021 when the construction works began. In fact, it is going to take about 4.9 billion Kenyan shillings, and it is a 63-kilometer stretch. It has been in a very poor state since its construction in the early 1960s and 70s there. When it comes to its impact, it's simply because it really aids a lot in the transportation of sugar, hence termed as that sugar belt, from areas around Nzoia coming all the way to particular areas of Kisumu, Mamboleo, Muhoroni, some parts of Nandi as well. So this is how the area is looking like, given the fact that very well that construction process already began. Like I mentioned, it started in September of last year. They haven't really quite put a specific time as to when it's supposed to be complete, but all we know is that it's still underway. And this is how the stretch is looking like this morning. Not really that bad. This is just as you leave the Mamboleo junction there, coming all the way to that city side in this particular area. Again, stretching through areas of Kibuye Market. They are still coming through the sections of Ondiek Highway. Not really that bad. Also around some of those mini roundabouts there, moving at a very swift pace. That is actually being witnessed on both sides of this particular stretch. So I'm talking about both sides simply means on both lanes of this area. So as you leave the Mamboleo junction, coming all the way through those areas that I've mentioned, as well as leaving some of those areas coming through that particular section. And actually looks like around this area there are really quite a number of junctions as well as roundabouts. Ultimately, perhaps one of those reasons that you'll really be witnessing heavy kind of traffic. But again, also knowing fully well that it is one of those roads that leads to one of those busy areas. That is the Kisumu Busia Road, and this is how that the other side is looking like this morning. Still not really that bad. Part of what has informed us checking on this route is just simply because to try and track and see how that entire construction process perhaps could be affecting or impacting traffic altogether. If we might need to look at alternative routes, perhaps for our viewers coming from areas of need not do that, at least for now, because majorly on most parts along this entire stretch there's barely any kind of heavy traffic, just in some sections, particularly in some of these roundabouts, because like I mentioned, there's really quite a number of them. Not one of those major roundabouts, but there's just quite a number of these roundabouts here. And again, part of what you would perhaps be expecting to see every kind of traffic, but that is not the case. In between, actually the stretch in between the Kisumu-Busia road, that junction, or particularly that roundabout, and this other roundabout, just around this side, is where there's a bit of traffic, but altogether manageable kind of traffic, well characterized by that orange color there, which is a clear indicator of that. Away from that, coming through that entire section side, just as you head over to areas around JKIA Highway, still moving at a very swift pace. And actually, this is also one of those reasons as to why it became necessary to rehabilitate the entire section of Kisumu-Muhoroni Mambole Road, simply because it also leads to this particular airport. So that is why it becomes necessary to do all that in terms of construction, rehabilitation altogether. And also part of what will be inclusive after this process is complete is they will also ensure they put up traffic lights, traffic signals, obviously on motorized transport system, that is pedestrian walkways, as well as cyclist lanes, because just as I mentioned, it is one of those busy areas, given the fact that its economic implication to the country, as well as it's serving quite a number of residents along this area. So this is how the stretch is looking like this morning. But nothing really much happening in terms of traffic, particularly heavy kind of traffic, because majorly on both sides, or on major parts along this stretch, moving at a very, very swift pace. And like I mentioned, that also continues up until the JKIA Highway, and also mostly some of those roundabouts that get to branch off major junctions. So that is how it is looking like this morning in terms of traffic. We have just been keenly focusing on one of those very instrumental roads around Kisumu area, and obviously up until that construction process is complete, given the fact that it began in September, it will obviously be one of those roads of focus. Try to see how all this will be affecting and impacting traffic altogether.
Welcome back, and now time to take a look at what's on the front page of our local dailies. But before them, let me introduce our guest in studio. Let me introduce my guest with me. I have Newton Hamasi, who is the Democratic Party spokesperson. Welcome to the program, Newton.
Thank you very much.
As well as Honorable Joshua Mwalio, who is Mbithi, all right, who is a member of parliament of Masinga constituency. Karibu sana to the show, Mheshimiwa.
Thank you very much.
I will be engaging them shortly on Iron Politics, but before then, let me take to the front page of what I have on the local dailies here. On the front page of the local daily, I have Daily Nation. On the front page, inside the Yala killing fields, a nation investigation reveals uncomfortable truth about the identities of dozens of young men killed and dumped in a river in Siaya, that is Siaya County, including their shared criminal past and how the common thread of death by strangulation to a ruthless execution squad. Could this journey be into the underworld reveal their killers? That's what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. Again, on the front page, Kipchoge Kosgei rule in Tokyo. Eliud and Bridget break marathon course records in the men's and women's races respectively. Briefly there, as a study shows Kenya Maasai giraffes on verge of extinction, we have to protect our conservation and our wildlife. Battle of the Peters. We have got Jubilee wrangles over Raila deputy. Who is going to be the running mate? We'll be engaging Honorable Kidogo just to tell us on how the politics is shaping in the political arena. And on the back page here, KCP kicks off as insecurity talks candidates in Baringo and Isiolo. It said that over 1.2 million candidates begin their Kenya certificate of primary education. That is their KCPE today, this morning. That's an increase in numbers. That's 2.75% increase in numbers of KCP candidates compared to those who sat the 2020 exam. Mheshimiwa, let me just bring you in at this particular point. this examination comes at a time when the country actually faced a different kind of calendar in the education because of the corona pandemic. What's your take on that? And of course, as a parent as well.
I think, thank you very much. The take is that things are not normal. And they have not been for a few years now, maybe 2 years. And that is why the calendar changed. Now the exam is coming in the mid-March and part of April. And it has never been that way. But you see, these are not the normal times that you have been. Then the calendar changed so that we can catch up with the normal calendar. And that is why we are doing the exam, and Form 1 is starting in April again. Which has never been. So looking at what is happening, the ministry is trying to catch up with the normal calendar, because by next year, January will be, Form 1 will also be the
resumption of the normal education calendar.
Yes. We will assume the normal calendar of learning. So it's okay, because you have to adjust with whatever is current. And because of the pandemic, we have no choice.
But let me ask you, some parts of Baringo, Kerio Valley and what have you, they have been facing a lot of insecurity challenges. As National Assembly, you have all the mandate to, to give your signature and your nod, and everything should be taking place. In fact, people have been calling on the deployment of the military. Why is it not taking place? Because why?
You cannot take the military to the people. It's not very comfortable thing to do.
It has to go through the parliament.
It has to go through the parliament, and, and even if it comes to the parliament, it will not pass, because we cannot allow. Military are not. They are trained to prevent the war and to fight also. So the normal police, the regular police, are able to contain the insecurity. If they are able to contain the insecurity, why the military? So it cannot be allowed to happen. Military is allowed in Somalia, but not within the country itself. The extreme that can go is that the JCU can be allowed. But not the military.
Okay. Newton, at this particular point, again, let me also rope you in. Students are kicking off their examination. It can also remind us way back in the days, almost all of us went through the process. Perhaps your chance to, wish them well as well.
Sure, thanks so much. And mine, on behalf of the Democratic Party and our presidential candidates, we wish all the candidates who are sitting their national exams today. I know it has been a tough season. It has been a tough period for them as our young kids and children. We wish them nothing but the best as they sit for these exams. We have had them having a very tough time when it came to last year, COVID, and then we had a series of schools burning down and all those cases. So from where we sit, we wish you guys all the best. Know that nothing is impossible. Go for it, be determined, and everything is going to be fine.
Absolutely. Okay. On the front page of the Standard here, tight contest reverses roles for Raila and Ruto. When ODM leader was in opposition, he complained about rigging while Ruto defended the results. Now the shoe is on the other foot. The Ruto of today sounds like the Raila of yesterday. Newton, the front page tells of a different picture, and we can also reflect what the Deputy President said while he's on the tour of the US, the rigging claims. So the shoe is on another foot altogether.
Okay, on that one, basically, what I will say from where I sit is, one, You know, as a country, we are used to passing laws that sometimes are not favorable to the other side. When you are inside the house, you throw stones, forgetting that someday you will be somewhere and stones will be thrown at you.
Yes.
Whatever His Excellency William Ruto is talking about is really a serious concern, because as all politicians in this country, those who are seeking elective politics, elective positions, of a free and fair election process. Failure to that, we are going to see a country of chaos that we will not wish to go back to. So from where we sit, we see it's a concern, and the relevant bodies are supposed to come out strongly and assure all Kenyans that when it comes to August 9th, you will cast your vote and your vote will count, and nothing is going to interfere with that process. Because the moment we have interference, because William Ruto is not a small boy from a village in Sugoi to just come and claim put such claims, especially from the United States. I wish he made those statements here, because this is our democracy.
He has been making them
while here, the funny thing about him, while here, he was making comments that nobody can steal his elections. He was so blatantly comfortable that he is going to ensure that his votes are protected. But you see, voter protection is not his mandate. He's just a candidate for election like any other person. So there are bodies that are put in place, like IBC, the police service, who are supposed to assure all aspirants, not only the deputy president, but even Justin Muturi, who is vying on Democratic Party, he needs to be assured of safety of his votes. Because come August, the person who will have more votes is the person who is going to be declared. Let's say if they vote for me as Newton Hamasi, and more at the end of the day,
50% plus one.
Exactly. So you see, the plus one is so critical. You remember back in 2013, the president won with very few votes, almost 8,000. You see, if someone cannot assure you of protection, one vote can be very critical. Because I remember back here in campus, when we used to do the student politics, you find you're winning with one vote, one single vote, and it makes a difference. So if it comes to a state of where a country, we are not assured of that security of the vote that we are casting, then it's something that as a country, we need to be worried about. But I believe the relevant bodies are prepared with.
And of course, IBC Chair Fletcher Bukati said that he's going to investigate the DP's claims while he's on his tour.
But again, as Chebukati does that, you know, this country we are subjected to investigations without no results.
That is the procedure. Then
you see, yes, but every procedure has to have an end. We can't just be moving around left, right, and center saying, oh, we are doing investigation. So if he does the investigation until 2023,
and there's no conclusion,
and the elections is happening in the next 5 months, what happens? We are going into an election with that without certainty.
All right.
Yes.
Mheshimiwa, tight contest reverses roles for Raila and Ruto now.
Yeah, you see, there is a day for everybody. And this is the day for Ruto now.
Yes.
Because he has been on the other side, whereby he has always thought he is the winner. But now things are changing. The tide is now changing. So he has to keep on crying so that you can tighten the stealing of the votes. But there is no stealing. It's just a cry to be able to seek some sympathy votes. So that people can sympathize on him. But this is not the time to cry that. It is time to campaign and make sure that you win with the landslide, so that no votes can be stolen, right?
Yes.
So I think these are just allegations which are baseless. We are still very far. Who has started planning to steal at this point? There's nobody.
But Mheshimiwa, that's what usually happens.
My presidential candidate, Kalonzo Musyoka, His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, is not saying that the votes will be stolen, right? And he is in the race. So why should you keep on saying this as the DP? And he has been having the machinery, so he knows the system. So he is just crying because he is seeing things have now started catching up with him. You know, he was running alone for almost 3 years.
Yes.
When you play in a football field alone, there is no goalkeeper. So you keep on winning.
Yes.
Now it is the time the goalkeeper.
The other opponents have now come to the field.
The goalkeeper is there.
Okay.
Now, so he has to play his cards well and also to play his football very well.
You know, from the way the DP speaks, is like he's taking the position of an opposition leader, trying to pass it to the presidency, but then now one foot in, another one out, being pulled behind, because now with the claims of rigging, taking into the US, you know, away from our country, and people would say, okay, why don't we just come back and address it here? We have got all the institutions, exactly. IBC is fully funded, we have got parliament, you know, the DCIs and what have you, put the claims here. But that one aside, we've not heard Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka so much on the issue of him being on the front line to contest.
You see, he has been. We endorsed him in the NDC. We endorsed him as our presidential candidate. And we have been campaigning. It's you who don't follow us. Because you think
we do.
You think that we are joining other people. So although we have been negotiating with others, but still is our presidential candidate until the day you say I am going to be in another coalition and then join forces with others. He is still our presidential candidate, and he has been campaigning. Recently we were in Lunga Lunga, we were in Mombasa, and I was there. So it's not a matter of beating your chest that you are in the field every day. There is a strategy that people win with, and the strategy is what our presidential candidate is trying to draw. Don't worry.
Okay.
Yes, don't worry. We are there.
It's interesting because
even the Speaker of the National Assembly, who is the presidential candidate of DP, you have not seen him going, but he is in the presidential what?
No.
He is in the presidential race, although he has not been very active.
Newton is not agreeing.
That is far from the truth.
Right.
You see, you can't compare Kalonzo Musyoka with Justin Muturi. Honestly, for the few months that have gone by, we have seen Kalonzo Musyoka being a crybaby, as he has always been. He's not seriously contesting for the presidency. The candidates who are contesting for the presidency are clearly known. Kalonzo is busy. Yesterday, I happened to go through an agreement that Kalonzo entered into with the Azimio principles.
Yes.
That he just wants to be a deputy prime minister, not even a prime minister. So Mheshimiwa here is misguided by saying that Kalonzo Musyoka is on the ballot for the presidency, because the last time I checked, he's among the people who are still in a divorced marriage back in
Can you confirm the authenticity of that document you're talking about?
No, it will come out. I'm just saying from where I sit, from our intelligence as a political party, it's an information that happened to come by.
Mheshimiwa, can you confirm
and
that?
very soon,
my friend here,
can you confirm that?
My friend here is not
something that
my friend here is not even a member.
Here in a media house,
he's not even a member of Wiper. I've been a member of Wiper for long, and I can say that we have not been able to draw an agreement with Azimio up to now. We are still negotiating. Things are still on the table. Where you have read your deputy prime minister,
yes,
those are your own issues.
No,
our party leader has not told us anything, and he has said he is negotiating himself, and he's a negotiator. So
where did
there is no position at the moment for deputy prime minister, not even the prime minister.
That is what even
because nothing has passed through the BBI
process.
Yeah?
Yes.
So what he is alleging is no here or there.
No, you see, lisemwalo lipo na kama halipo lingoje laja. We have had these conversations. The other day, Kalonzo Musyoka had already made his step into Azimio until they formed Azimio One Kenya Alliance. Only a day later, when his members of parliament from his region came and went against him and warned him that if he does this, it's going to cause a lot of repercussion, is when Kalonzo made a very quick U-turn. The other day he was in Uganda. What was he doing in Uganda? To be honest, Mheshimiwa, what was he doing in Uganda? Here we are discussing about national issues. You get me? And there are critical things.
You cannot leave. You cannot leave the country when you are negotiating.
No, why would they go to negotiate as one Kenya alliance with His Excellency Museveni from Uganda? They need to focus on issues of this country because, honestly speaking, if you look at what is happening in Ukraine and Russia.
All right, just hold on, Newton. Allow me to take a break because at the end of the day, we still need to interrogate further that claim of that position they're talking about that the Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is trying to negotiate about, and much more in terms of looking at what's on our front page of our local dailies. Let's take a break. We'll be right back with more.
Kitwek FM Kegosin.
Na kuomba umtalikilea.
Madam Kate.
Hakikisha ukija mtoto asijue kwamba unakuja kuniona. Toka wapi, mbona wajificha?
Wewe kwani umenitafuta huko tumenikosa?
That's a white lie and you know it. Nimechoka na uongozi wako.
I don't care anymore whether they work together or not. I have nothing I need to hide.
You betrayed me, Mariela. You betrayed your friend.
Now he's looking at me with so much love. And who knows, perhaps his wish will be granted.
He's innocent, Carmen. I know that he didn't do anything to deserve this. Nothing.
Eduardo has a lover.
You finally found my daughter.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Welcome back. Now let me take you through on the front page of the Star newspaper. On the front page of the Star, puzzle of 650 million shillings wired to girlfriend. This is from the Belgian crypto dealer, lavishes Kenyan girlfriends and relatives with millions of shillings. Details briefly. Raila flies to UK for a 5-day tour soon after Ruto returns. He will be leaving next week. EACC wants Waiguru Kuria to face fresh graft charges. Anti-graft detectives have now asked the DPP to charge Kirinyaga Governor Anne Waiguru and Gatundu South MP Moses Kuria in separate corruption cases. One, they say that Waiguru is defending her seat as governor, while Kuria has declared his bid for Kiambu governor seat. Now, there is a story there of a traumatizing night after Kinoo building crashes down. This is not the first scene or the first case we've had here in the city. Now, to that story on the front page, it's detectives now want funds forfeited allege that they are proceeds of crime. We had this story sometimes back in the past, and now it's here. I will give you more details now. Briefly, the money wired to girlfriends and relatives. Now, this is according to an illustration. There is one gentleman called Tebi Wambuku who received 144 million shillings, and the lady that we all know about, that is Felesta Njoroge, 109 million shillings. And we have got an unknown person, Jane Wangoi, 44 million shillings. We also have an anonymous person, Sarah Wamboi, whose the details of the amount sent to her is also unknown, as well as Timothy Waigwa, who received 47 million shillings. So the Belgian crypto investor and his 650 million shillings gift for friends puzzles detectives. Okay, so Raila will fly to the UK after, that is for 5 days after Ruto returns from a 12-day trip abroad. ODM chief Raila Odinga out next month for 5 days after a major political event in Nairobi. Mheshimiwa, just to ask you on this, why the foreign trips now? Is it the diaspora vote hunt?
I cannot speak for them at the moment, but there is the diaspora votes and also maybe their own private businesses. Yeah, you can never tell. You see, it's not yet campaign time.
Yes.
Campaign official time starts on 30th of May. And this is a warm-up. So if when you are doing a warm-up, you can also take a vacation and go rest and put your resources together. And also, you see, these people are going also with their own people, advisors, and they are also going to craft maybe the itineraries, their campaign manifestos, their campaign finances, and many other things. So you cannot prevent anybody from flying out of the country. Because if he sees the ground is secure, he can even go abroad and stay for some time, and nothing changes.
And come back
and especially the presidential candidate is not very, it's not a must that you do it every day. No. You have other players who are left behind to hold your campaigns and be able to hold your people together.
Absolutely. Newton, now they say that Kalonzo and Gideon Moi held lengthy talks with President Museveni, and they're centered on the current discussion and situation is the situation in South Sudan, and particularly the planned retreat between President Salva Kiir and his first Vice President Riek Machar. That's what's on the star here. What actually the two leaders in Uganda when they had their meeting with Honorable Museveni, President Museveni. So the allegations you're trying to say that what are they doing in Uganda? Now you've been answered. You're still disputing that.
This is for the media. This is for the media.
What is it that we don't know about?
But from the politics around this travel will be revealed very soon.
You know something that we don't know about?
Oh, it will be revealed very soon. I will not be the person to reveal it, but it's going to be revealed very soon.
Okay.
Can I say something?
Yes, Mheshimiwa.
His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka
he knows about.
is the peace ambassador for South Sudan and the Congo. And that is part of his work plan, so that he can see the region as a lot of peace. That is where he was appointed by the president to be able to deal with those matters. So he has to consult the elders of the region, and Museveni is one of the elders who knows a lot. So if he sees there is something that he needs to consult, they have always been meeting so that they can see the peace in Sudan is installed.
Yeah, I support his sentiments because one, peace is very, and especially since we are going into an election period, peace is very critical. And we have an issue with Somalia in regards to our borders at the sea, and you see that one can really erupt into a lot of issues. What you are saying between Ukraine and Russia, and we commend Kalonzo. He's a peaceful man. And yes, let us hope that the key goal of his visit to Nini was peace.
So let me ask you, Newton, what's on the table between for Honorable Justin Muturi?
For Honorable Justin Muturi, it is clear from the word go, it is the presidency. And he's going for the presidency not because of him. And, you know, it has been alluded that, oh, Mount Kenya has had presidents, so we cannot have another president from the mountain.
Yes.
My comments are simple. At what point as a country will we give our presidential candidates equal platform despite their tribal affiliation? Because, you see, you can't kick out someone who is overqualified for the job. For someone who is not qualified because of the fact that he comes from a particular tribe.
Yes.
Where I stand from, I come from Western Kenya, Kakamega County to be precise. If we have a candidate from Kakamega who wins the presidency, and next election we have another candidate from Kakamega who is winning the election, who is a lawyer.
Yes.
I will have no problem voting for this person 10 times or 100 times to be the president of this country. Not because he's coming from my region, but because he's qualified. We have been subjected to a two-horse race. If you look at the two horses, all of them, they don't qualify to lead this country. One is an old truck. The other one has a lot of scandals on his side. And we have Justin Muturi here, who is a clean, who has led parliament. Even Mheshimiwa here can attest to it. He's a man of integrity. He's a man of great order. He's a man who has the vision of this country. And that is why his clarion call is, we are not late as a country to have a president who cares for us all. A president who is not elected because of his tribal affiliation. And Justin Muturi stands out from the rest because if you put the three, or the you put Justin Muturi, a serious thinking Kenyan will vote for Justin Muturi.
Okay.
Despite his tribal affiliation, I don't know, they are saying we have had Kikuyu presidency, we have had this. That is nonsense.
But that was the whole essence of having the BBI, the inclusivity.
Yes, the inclusivity should be put on how someone qualifies, not because of tribal. Because you see, we can't keep saying, oh, because the Kalenjins are many, they have to come. The coalitions are surrounded around, they are put around the numbers that people come from their regions.
Yes.
You get me? That is something that we need really to close that chapter and form coalitions that are oriented, are development oriented. Not because someone comes from Luo Nyanza, now we say, apana, paka turudishe mkono Luo Nyanza. That is nonsense. We need to have a Kikuyu president whose impact is felt in Busia, whose impact is felt in Northeastern, whose impact is felt in at the coastal region. Not a president. I would wish if Kalonzo will be elected president. As a lawyer, I'll be a happy man. Because Kalonzo is a lawyer, is someone who has qualities, who can put this country to the world map. But if we focus on this issue of, oh, because I'm Kikuyu, I cannot contest because Kibaki was Kikuyu, Uhuru Kenyatta was Kikuyu. So what? We have had 20-year rule of the Kikuyus.
Yes.
You get me? And if Justin Muturi is the best candidate to deliver this country, let us not look at the tribal affiliations.
That will only be determined at the ballot because we're just 5 months shy away from that particular day.
Yeah, and I believe Kenyans are going to make that rightful decision to vote for integrity.
What if you are talking of impact? So what impact can we feel about Honorable Justin Muturi in Mandera?
Honorable Justin Muturi in Mandera, he has led the parliament and he has been at the forefront to at least advise because he is not actively involved in the voting of resources and all that. But he has seen all these budgets that are passed go through his desk.
Okay.
For the approval of the parliament.
All right.
And he understands where the leakages are, where the problems are. And from where he stands, he knows how he's going to handle the issues of Mandera, the issues of the coastal region. Because even this week, he'll be going to coastal region.
Okay. Yes. Okay, let me take on the last paper here. That's the People Daily. Yes. Raila banks on chosen 8 to deliver polls. That's what's on the front page of the People Daily. We have got the quote-unquote the Sky team. Clique of robust and experienced politicians has been facilitated and tasked with not only selling ODM leaders' manifesto, but also to counter any attacks on him in run-up to elections. Who are the 8? We have got Mombasa Governor Hassan Joho, Kitui Governor Charity Ngilu, Narok Senator Ledama Olekina, Muranga Woman Representative Sabina Shege. We have got Homa Bay Woman Representative Gladys Wanga, Kieni MP Kanini Kega, and Suna East Member of Parliament Junet Mohammed, and lastly Embakasi East MP Babu Owino. The chosen 8, Mheshimiwa?
You see, every presidential candidate has got his preferred people, and they are sharp-minded, I can say.
Yes.
And they are good politicians. So that is Raila's choice, and we cannot dispute. What I am saying is that given the presidency of Kalonzo Musyoka,
yes,
he will also have his own sharp minds, which he has already.
Who are the sharp minds?
No, I'm not going to unveil them. I'm not the one to unveil them. And he will have to unveil them himself.
Yes.
So, given that he will be in the ballot, and if that time reaches, he'll be able to unveil his people.
But
what I am saying, it's not running. What I'm saying, that Kalonzo Musyoka is acceptable anywhere in this country, and everybody wishes that he was the flag bearer this time round. That nobody will reject him. In the Rift Valley will run behind him. The Nyanza will run behind him. The Western will, the Northeastern will also be behind him, and even the Central and the Northeastern. So now for this time, we are arranging ourselves, and this week will be our deciding factor. Tomorrow we are going to have a meeting, and we will be given the way forward, so that we can be able to follow the path that our presidential candidate.
I'll get into that briefly, because there's so much we need to talk about Wiper Party.
Give us the direction.
Yes, briefly.
So don't worry about the lineup of ideas. We are coming up with ours.
Waiting to see that on the front page. Briefly, Newton, let me just finish on the paper here. Exam start amid insecurity and leakage. Claims more than 1.2 million candidates will sit their KCPE examinations test as government puts teachers on the spot over cheating claims. Kenya turns on the charm in classic golf tournament, which ended yesterday, and President Kenyatta was actually there to at the end of that particular event. And China's Wu wins 2022 Kenya Open. The 36-year-old four-time European Tour winner takes home around 36 million shillings prize money and that coveted trophy, the Rhino, right? So that is what we have on the front pages of our local dailies here, starting with the Standard, the Daily Nation, People Daily, and finally we have got the Star newspaper. Yes, Newton?
Just to comment on the front page for People's Daily, I think that is a cleansing process, because there was an uproar from the youth in that particular arrangement of Azimio. When there's a committee that His Excellency Raila Amolo Odinga were like, okay, so they were like the SK Machares of this world, the Kaparos, the Kosgei, the Makao Mutua, the Wycliffe Oparanya, the Anyang' Nyong'os. So there, I'm seeing at least they have sneaked in young people.
No, I don't think they have sneaked in, because politics is about tactic.
But you see, on
politics
third,
dynamic,
on third
you
of the
go
same
with the
paper,
intelligence and what's on the ground.
On the third of the same paper,
right,
they published a group of old guard. So today,
I think some are advisors.
Exactly.
Some are campaigners. These are campaigners.
Yes, we have got Joho, we have got Honorable
advisors, and also financiers. You see SK Macharia, who is he? The billionaire of this country.
that we can't discuss about that on national television.
Yeah, we are saying
that. Yes.
we are saying that some are behind the scenes to be able to advise and also to bankroll.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So let's wait and see. But the way you're putting it, you know, every politician must put their house in order depending the prevailing circumstance.
I agree
if
with
that was that, this is now here.
Yes.
And depending on the advice he was given, and now you have to energize your team.
Yes.
That's why this team is here.
What I'm trying to allude on is it's just simple. You know, as young people of this country, we have just been subjected to statistics. And it is about time that young people stand up strongly and defend their positions in this government, because there's nothing for us without us. And what we are seeing around, apart from Justin Muturi, who has incorporated young tax like myself in his secretariat.
Yes.
These guys, they are going for the old tax. And that is why we want an alternative apart from these two. And young people, my challenge to them is come out on August and vote unanimously, so that when we say something about young people, people can sit down and understand and listen to us.
All right.
Because without that, the next generation of this country will be in sheer...
All right, gentlemen. So at this particular point, I think that brings the end of what's on the front pages of our local daily. So let's shift gears, and in Ion Politics, what we have this weekend, a lot happened over the weekend, Mheshimiwa. Honorable Raila Odinga was in Ukambani. And it's quite interesting to see what really happened over the weekend, because none of the One Kenya Alliance principals attended that rally. None of the Wiper Party members, legislators attended. Did you attend? Starting with you.
First of all, that was not our rally. That is Azimio's rally. We are OCA. And we have not been able to sit down and put an agreement together.
Yes.
It is until that agreement is done is when we can now be able to campaign together. So because that has not been able to be reached up to now, we are still on the table negotiating, and it is until that time. So the Machakos rally, which was there, and Ukambani kind of rallies, were purely for those who are in Azimio.
What are the
and we could
issues?
not be able to attend ourselves.
Yes.
Because we were not part of it.
Right.
Yes.
What are the teething issues that Wiper Party is trying to iron out before they join Azimio?
Not Wiper Party. We are joining up as a coalition called OCA.
One Kenya Alliance.
Sorry. One Kenya Alliance.
One Kenya Alliance.
OCA too.
Yes.
You to join as a coalition. Azimio is a coalition. OCA is a coalition. So we have to join as equal partners, not as one party. Not Wiper joining alone, not KANU joining alone, not NAC joining alone, and the Jirongo's party joining Azimio. We are a coalition together, where we want to negotiate with another coalition as equal partners. Until that is done, we are not campaigning together, and we are not together.
Okay, you know, it's quite interesting, Mheshimiwa, because the kind of coalition you want to form is a coalition to a coalition kind of an agreement. You have got One Kenya Alliance, which is a coalition of parties.
Yes.
We have got Azimio la Umoja, which is a coalition of parties.
Yes.
Azimio la Umoja was formed after an agreement from different political parties. How is it going to happen, coalition to coalition agreement? It has never happened. We only have coalition parties.
Yes. Now, that will happen because we have not agreed as a party, as a Wiper, to join Azimio ourselves. If you join like that, you will become like any ordinary person. But if we join as we have our own presidential candidate, and also Azimio has got his own presidential candidate. You remember what they were saying, that in Kasarani they will have 20 members.
Yes.
You know, eh?
Right.
So that they can be able even to vote for whoever presidential candidate they want.
How many Wiper MPs do we have in Parliament? How many Wiper MPs do we have in Parliament?
28.
And in the Senate?
2.
2.
No, 3.
3.
Yes. No,
how many governors?
Sorry, 4.
4. That is 28 plus 4?
Yes, we have 2 governors.
2 governors, 2 governors. Now, is it because Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is trying to run away because of the numbers? The National Assembly, the Senate, and even the governors. Because when he comes as a Wiper party, he doesn't have the power to negotiate as an equal partner in the Azimio la Umoja.
No, you see now we had already formed Oka team, coalition.
Yes.
So if we like-minded coalitions want to negotiate with us so that we can work together, because now as it stands, there is no one party which can win a presidential election in this country. So we have to come the like-minded coalitions to be able to work together. That is why we are saying Oka is already a coalition.
Right.
We cannot divide ourselves and say, let us go as a party. When you go as a party, you have no strength. But when you go as a coalition, you are negotiating as equal partners so that you share the...
That's quite interesting. Newton, the narrative.
You see, this is why Democratic Party is going into this election single-handedly.
You are not joining any coalition?
We are not joining any coalition. And I'm shocked to hear my Mheshimiwa here saying that, it is not possible for a political party to go alone to the presidential. These coalitions you're saying are coalitions of self-interest, coalitions of deceit, coalition of lies. Because if you look at Azimio, how many parties have joined there? Look at the parties that have joined into Jubilee. The other day they had an NDC at KICC. Look at the Power Party from Kilifi.
From Kilifi. Look
at the other small parties, the Ngilus parties, these are people who are going into retirement. And they are forming political parties for their own selfish interest.
They are going on retirement, but parties will remain.
But you see, who are leading these parties to those particular coalitions?
It doesn't matter.
It matters a lot.
Parties will remain.
No, a lot. Because these parties, they are being woodwashed this way, left, right. You saw what happened in 2017. Jubilee lied to almost 63 parties, or how many were they? 13 parties.
13.
They were collapsed to form Jubilee Party. Look now, everybody's crying. URP is now in form of UDA. You get me?
Right.
That's why we are saying these coalitions are coalitions of deceit.
And when you talk of party collapsing,
yes,
I think that is why the issue of political parties bill was put in place, so that you come into a party, but you don't follow your parties. You come as individual parties, but you're still alive in a coalition.
But again, I ask, and this is a challenge maybe to the political parties body, to do an audit of all these political parties that are forming these coalitions. You will be shocked some of them are just briefcase political parties, because they have not fully adhered to the requirement of a political party. For you to be a political party, you must have officers in 25 counties. How many among us, the one that, like the one for PAR from Kilifi, do you think if you go do an audit of all those branches that they have, they will amount to 25? They can't. You get me? So we are being just subjected to politics of deceit, confrontations that are not necessary for this country. And that is why we are saying, as Democratic Party, we stand for some values. These other parties don't have. You see someone forming a party called Tujibebe Party. They have no values. Look at Democratic Party. It was formed 35 years ago. It still stands with its mantra, umoja na haki. There are some things that drive us as a political party, not just for purposes of election, not just for purposes of forming coalitions like others are forming. If you look in 2017 again, it is only Democratic Party that never collapsed to join Jubilee.
Okay.
And here we are, strong and moving.
You are talking from the history of our elections in the country.
Yes.
Mheshimiwa, you can also attest to this, that no single political party has ever won an election. You
that
must
is an
have
imagination.
A
it is only KANU that was winning those years.
It is an imagination.
Not now, not these days.
Right.
Because of selfishness.
None can win, because every community needs to be represented in those coalitions.
Yes.
And you can never tell me that we are not a tribal country. We are.
And you're proud of it?
We are.
As a member of parliament, are you proud of it?
I am not saying I am proud of it.
Yes.
But that is the truth. So people want to feel that they belong to the government, and so once their party is represented in the coalition, then there is harmony because we are represented there in our party.
I think Mheshimiwa here is guiding the country.
You see, for you to say the DP party is going to the campaigns alone, then it means that you are not carrying the other part of the country together.
No, that is a lie. You see, you cannot tell me that if I go alone, I'm not carrying the aspirations of all the community. What I've said is simple. As Democratic Party, we are looking at a country where if Aluya is a president, the person in Makueni can feel the development of this country, because you don't have to be in government through a proxy for you to feel that government presence in your community or in your village. What we are saying is any Kenyan, 47 million of them, will feel part of the government if the government is carrying out projects that are there to the needs of the people on the ground. Like Jubilee government, Uhuru Kenyatta has done amazingly well on infrastructure. People in Mandera can now drive on their roads all the way. We have an expressway here. Do you want to tell me Uhuru is building this road because the people in Nairobi joined in Jubilee?
Is that a single party?
Yes, Jubilee Party is a single party.
It's not a single party.
It is a coalition of parties.
It is a coalition of parties.
Jubilee Party.
It is a coalition of parties which is represented by the small parties.
Right.
In that coalition.
But you see, the lies you guys are instilling in people that we cannot achieve unless as a community we are put in government through this political
party. That democracy has not yet grown to that extent in this country. There is no such a democracy in this country.
Okay,
we are still many years behind.
Okay,
no, we will still grow it, but not now.
At this particular point, I think I'm not going to stop them. Let's just take a break, even when they're still talking. It's 8 on the dot. Let's take a break. We are going to continue with more after this. Stay around.
Please drop the charges against my brother.
He tried to kill me. There's no way I'm dropping the case.
Get a divorce. Leave here for good. You should leave now. Get out of my house. Leave now. Leave. Where are you begging you? Go. Grabbed hold of Jack's shirt collar and tried to push him off the building. It was the most horrible thing.
Go to the police station and drop the charges. And also go to Pinky's to beg for their forgiveness.
An agreement. And it is also very important for you to know if two presidential candidates, especially a presidential candidate and a running mate, a deputy president, so to say, that they have come to an agreement, should be owned, because they are people of integrity and they should be honest. So, because one has betrayed the other one, my presidential candidate felt very disturbed, and he feels that he has been betrayed by his friend. Therefore, it was important for him to come out and tell the world that he has been betrayed. And therefore, if there is any agreement that is going to continue and discussions continue to be discussed between the two principals, Raila Amolo Odinga and His Excellency Kalonzo Musyoka, then there should be an arbitrator
who, in history, the arbitrator and the deputy and his deputy, they went against each other's interests. Yes.
But you see now, let me ask you this question, because when you see the two gentlemen having an agreement,
yes,
I don't know what kind of scenario that this will create? Because in classic example, the Democratic Party, you're saying you're not going for any agreement with any political party.
Any coalitions.
Is that what makes you a bit apprehensive about it?
Yes, that is some of the reasons. Because one, the politics of this country around political parties, they are just of self-interest. And this self-interest aspect...
Yes. Some are being mentioned in the corruptions, others have been mentioned in another issues. So what I am saying that although the country was waiting, and it is still waiting, we are yet to reach.
Mheshimiwa, that brings me to a very important question.
Yes.
Then. If Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, as you claim that they had an agreement together with Honorable Raila Odinga, that 2022, Honorable Raila Odinga would support him.
Yes.
People change. Raila is a politician. He's also an ambitious politician. He wants to be the president. If it happens that Raila doesn't...
That we need to get rid of as a country when it comes to August 9th of this year.
Let me answer him. Kalonzo is not negotiating for himself. In fact, he has nothing to negotiate for himself. He is negotiating for the Kenyans. And he has all the Kenyans at heart. What he is trying to say, to avoid, is like the Nansa coalition that was together, and then one of the principals runs away to go and do a weekend. We were together in one of the rallies together.
Yes.
And they come and say they are joining UDA. That means there was agreement even when they were still in Oka. Another betrayal. So, you know, these politics are like that. Sometimes you find that you are not benefiting where you are, so you think you are now going to benefit where you...
Nominations.
Yes.
That opens up a room for murky things to happen. Because one, as an aspirant, you just need to get people from the place, hire them, pay them, they come and vote for you. Instead of getting or campaigning to your party members to nominate you for that particular seat. So I believe also at that point we need to structure our laws in that all the nominations for political parties should have.
People are now registered members, and it's a very expensive move. You must pay the ones that are registering the people every day. And it's not everybody who can afford. Like the DP, there will not be an independent person that you can now run. You can now...
From one party.
Yeah, one party to was stopped in 2017.
Okay.
It was not there even.
Let's take a break, and when we come back, we are coming to the tail end of this. We're still having Newton.
Confirm to that. They are the voters in that parliament. But there are some reservations that he has been having and he has had about that particular bill. And up to date, he has stuck to it, saying, look, this thing is good, yes, but there are some precautions that we need to take to ensure that we have a smooth flow of things.
Yes.
We need to encourage Kenyans to belong into a political party.
All right. At what point do you support, which method do you go for? Direct picking?
No, for us in Democratic Party, we don't do direct nominations.
Yeah, no, it's true.
Not quite. We have got
just a very few. There are 2 or 3 in Nyanza. Let me don't teach me. I'm a member of parliament. I sit there, so I know what happens. And the good part is like Wiper. Once you win, also. People have got a lot of faith for you and they'll vote for you. So,
Taulo, indeed, we are coming to you live from St. George's Primary School right here in Nairobi County, monitoring the KCPE examination process that actually kicked off very early in the morning. In the morning at around 6 a.m., we were at the Westlands DCC office just witnessing as the containers were being opened. The examination papers have been taken so that they can also undertake this examination. But the question we've asked about the numbers, we will be speaking to the officials later on, and of course we'll be giving our viewers more details on that.
Nancy, and finally, we are, students are sitting this exam at an interesting time. How are the sitting arrangements in terms of the, sitting?
A political option that is diametrically different from the rest. And where we sit as Democratic Party, we stand for what is right, not what is going to give us political mileage as political leaders of this country. And above all, we stand for umoja na haki. A united country will lead to a prosperous nation. And as we head to the...
But the luxurious items, they are going to be increased.
Okay.
So we will take care of the mwananchi. Don't worry. Life will be good.
We have to get worried
with the current
6 kg going for 1,560
with the current parliament
can do something.
The only thing is that there is drought also. In Lower Eastern, there is a lot of drought.
El veneno y la ambición.
Please drop the charges against my brother.
He tried to kill me. There's no way I'm dropping the case.
Get a divorce. Leave here for good. You should leave now. Get out.
To the JKIA airport there, that is around Kisumu area. So for what we're doing today is just tracking the progress, and this is where I've taken you through what has been happening since the awarding of the tender up until the commissioning of the construction process. And part of also what we want to check this morning is how all this is perhaps affecting or impacting traffic altogether. If you can remember, during our first link, there was barely any kind of heavy traffic, particularly in some of those junctions around this area, given the fact that there's quite a number of them. So has anything changed? Is it the same as how it was earlier on in terms of traffic? Perhaps you can begin from the major junction, that is the Mamboleo junction. This is how it is looking like this morning. I mean, aside from the fact that there's a lot happening, obviously a lot, given the fact that the works began in September. So clearly that just shows you that still a lot is happening in that stretch in terms.
Twitter, our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. My handle is the Jane Momboy. Feel free to share with us your thoughts. And with us to help us with this discussion in studio, we have Catherine Carrera, who is a teen youth mentor. Good morning and welcome, Catherine.
Morning, Jane.
And we also have Mercy Mwangi, who is a mental health advocate. Good morning, Mercy.
Good morning.
Welcome. Thank you for being with us today. Now, let me just start with your individual. Start with you, Mercy. Holidays are a time where we see so many parents getting anxious. Like, watoto wanafunga wiki saba sasa. Why do you think this is something that gets parents on edge?
All right. Well, I'm a parent as well, so this conversation is in order.
Yes.
Yeah, one, there is the aspect of children coming home. They disrupt the normal day-to-day activity. You have to go to work, you have to leave them. There is that anxiety, how will they be? There is also the implication of cost implications when they're at school. So many, the budget is taken so much in school. You pay school fees there, maybe lunch is taken care of there, and other activities are minimal.
Yes.
And when they come back home, everything now is on you. You have to, most parents don't do lunches and stuff like that. Now you have to do like a balanced meal for the whole day. That's a cost implication plus a lot of work. Then there is, what activity are they going to do? If you're not ready mentally, trust me, you'll get overwhelmed, because 6 weeks is not a short time.
Yes.
Yeah, those are some of the things that make parents get anxious, and many more others.
All right. I'd also like to hear from you, Catherine. Given your interaction with the parents out there, and even the kids, why do you think parents get so anxious when kids close school for so long? And just the other day we were complaining it's too short, and now it's too long.
We have just failed to prepare, Jane. We all knew that they are going to come.
Holiday stressful on the kids?
Wow. That's a tough question. It can be. As Catherine has talked about planning.
Yes.
When you fail to plan yourself, and when we talk about planning, let's talk about the mental health aspect. Yeah. In mental health, we say sometimes what you focus in is what you get. Right now, we are focusing on the negatives, what is happening around, and we are forgetting the children. The child is the one we're supposed to focus on, but we're focusing on everything else. It is long, there is no money, it is chaotic and stuff like that. So how can it be stressful? As a parent, if you're not emotionally well, or if you're not mentally well, you will not be able to parent.
Yes.
Because you'll transfer the stress or everything else to the child. When you're supposed to help them move to the next step, yourself, you're even stuck. So that is how you make it more stressful to them. They don't know what to do next. They don't know even what to do. It's like they just wake up and life goes on. They should have, we usually say, even for the children, help them have like very healthy habits. Even when that child wakes up and you're not there, they know what they are supposed to do. I'm supposed to do this when I wake up, and this and this and this, until the day ends. Not the normal, boring routine we are talking about, but them, they have owned it. It is not your routine, it is their routine. If you're planning, plan with them. You remove stress from them. Let's take an example. You left your children at home and you went, and they wake up, they don't know what to do. They don't have breakfast. What will they start doing? They start getting hungry. A hungry person is an angry person. So what will happen? They will start finding, kids are very smart. They start finding way of fulfilling what they need right now. Yeah, what is their need right now is food. That child will do anything possible for them to just feel. You are stressing that child now, and you're exposing them to other things simply because you are not well and you had not planned for them. That is one of the ways we make it stressful. The other one is when you make rules and regulations are very good, but if you don't include them in them, it becomes like a punishment. You don't allow them to plan with you, so they even it's good to have a dialogue. Let them know this is the reason you're doing this. When you wake up, you have these duties to do. Maybe if you have to make your bed, you have to wash these dishes, because you have to help them understand chores are supposed to be done. So if you don't do that, again, it's like it's a punishment. Like even how you communicate. When I come back, I don't want to find these dishes here. Let them understand you are home. You have a lot of this time. Do this at this time. Do this at this time. They will see you are involving them instead of like punishing them.
And what's the benefit of doing that as parents? You know, actively involving them in the planning, the scheduling, versus forced involvement or just projecting on them? What are some of the benefits that we are going to see there and there? Instant results.
Yeah, some of the benefits is they start getting. They start using their critical thinking. They start getting creative, because some of these things they have to figure out how they have to do. And then they start finding you as the higher person or the best person to go to, because some of the things they'll come and ask you, how do we do this? But if you like command them or push them, they will always rebel and do the opposite. But now when you engage them, it becomes a dialogue, it becomes a conversation. So you're helping their brain understand this is how life should be, and this is how life is going to be in future. And the benefits, the immediate benefits is they'll start having self-regulations. They will know, oh, even the normal emotional stuff we go through, if they're angry, they will know, yes, I am angry and I should calm down. But if all the time it's like pushed and pushed and pushed, they will always be angry and they don't know any other way. So you help them think, you help them be creative, you help them even grow their brain in future. Now in future, they'll be able to do these things even when you're not around.
Long-term and short-term goals. Yes. All right, Karatin, also your thoughts when it comes to involving the children, and especially, okay, this is based on their ages as well, involving them versus forced involvement, forcing issues on them.
My colleague has said about rules. I want to tell us parents, rebellion,
and especially with the teenagers.
So if you don't have a relationship with your children and you give them rules, they will become rebellious. And parents, we need to understand this. When we are growing up our children, we are literally transferring our powers to them. If you can be able to calm down and do a bit of the dishes, then you tell her, finish up together with me. You'll have assisted the child. Because children have a mentality of housework should be done by somebody else. So if mommy you're doing, and you know children are very good at imitating what you are doing. So do a part of it, do together with them. My colleague has also said about they can be bored. And I had mentioned that earlier. And Jane, I would want us to look at the word bored as an acronym. Where B is telling us to be very creative. Parents and children, you must be very, very creative. These 50 whatever days you're at home. Then we have O. You must organize your children, or your children will disorganize themselves or be disorganized by somebody else. Then we have R. We must be ready for that future. And children are our future. We are the hope for that future. Then E, they must exercise everything, including their minds. And that is why when they have come home, they have enough homework to carry them all through. Then D, which children you must hear very well. You only have to do what is necessary. Let me tell us parents why we need to organize and work together with our children as we are transferring power. Parenting is like building a cathedral. We cannot afford to cut corners. So you must make sure that you're not going to parent the way we were parented our times. But also I want to tell us this, even as we don't parent the way we were parented, Jane, discipline and good manners have never gone out of style and fashion. Yes. So even as we change the skills of parenting now, we must make sure that we don't leave our children out to be indisciplined. Because when we don't discipline our children, we are bringing up to go to jail. So parents, what we need to do, if you don't know the best skills to parent together with your children, bring them in, ask them, can we make rules together? And of course they will tell you, because you know in school, where they have been for those 2 months, they have a bell. At home, we don't have a bell. They have uniform. At home, we have freedom. They have the walls and the gates, so that these children do not feel like they have come into another cage. While we are there, I want to tell our children that education is their life. And education is like they are rehearsing for the life they would want to lead, so that they can understand they have come home. And children, I want to sell something to you, because I know you follow me very well. Can you make this holiday a very excellent holiday for yourself? You're not doing it for your parents. And excellence, Jane, is not a skill, it's an attitude. Let me also tell you, our children, why can't you make this long holiday a holy day? Every day you wake up, you say, I want to be a holy girl. I want to be a holy girl. Because when you go out and you do things against your parents, the word of God which I have here tells us when we disobey. So we must make sure that children, you know how to manage your time. And as we talk about children, you know we have the teenagers that can now listen to me. Yes. We have the preteens that are listening to me. But we have the toddlers who have been now going to baby school, but they are home now. And these ones do not understand. Jane, I'll always tell our parents that we must have eyes that are hearing. And now even we must be able to feel our children, because Jane, we know defilement is on the increase. I said we have to prevent and protect them, so that we can prevent these children from the dangers coming. And I know before we came in, KCP is being done today. And I want to tell parents to tell our children, after they have cleared a primary school, that happiness is in finishing an exam, but life is still happening. And you know, Jane, after they have done KCP, what next? Rite of passage. And unfortunately, we are going backwards, where we are thinking that the girl needs a cat. Let me say this, and I thank God that I'm talking here now on national TV, because the president told us that we should have zero tolerance on FGM. Let me say this, please. FGM is happening. FGM is very demonic. Jane, I call FGM peer pressure from the dead. FGM does not help any woman. FGM does not help any girl. FGM gives the circumciser evil money. And then the girls that have been circumcised will have long-term health complications and even short-term complications. So please, make sure that as the children have come home to us, it is this long holiday, we don't damage them. Who are children? Children are a gift from God. A gift for us to make, not to break. Let us not break our children, because it can be convenient for them to be at home. We take them for a cut. No, they don't need a cut. They normally tell me that the reason they are cutting the girls is to stone them down. No, we are fear-free, wonder-free, made, wired, good.
All right. Now, remember, this conversation is two-way. We'd love to hear from you as a parent, as a guardian or a custodian of any child that has closed schools for the holiday. What are you going about to manage the anxiety that usually comes with long school holidays? Use the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. Our official station handle is at KBC Channel 1. My handle is at Jane Wambui. Now, let me come to you, Mercy. As you've rightfully brought in that aspect of, the cultural, some of those backward, let me just use that word, those backward traditional practices that we keep seeing over and over again. Another one that is sort of subtle, but is something that still cuts across, is taking our kids to our relatives, bouncing them from house to house to house, the entire holiday. What are your thoughts when it comes to this? And is it something you advise parents to still do in this day and time? 1 week kwa uncle, the next week kwa guka, the next week, like that. What are your thoughts on that?
Wow. Okay, on this case, I would want us to look at it as case-to-case basis and understand why is this happening. Yeah, and then as like a parent, why should I take my children to this place and this place and this place? And for me, if it's an advice, is go with them. If they really need to go with them.
Not leaving them.
Not leaving them. Okay. But again, I've said, what are the reasons? Find out what are the reasons. If there are things you can avoid. So many things happen to children when they go out there. And this child, again, develops something that they don't have permanence. They don't have permanence, especially the small children. Let's talk about the very small children who are learning through seeing only. They don't even hear what you say. They will just listen, and they don't fathom. They do not understand what you say. Yes. But whatever you do, they will understand because they can see. So what happens? Most of the time, maybe you take them to a relative. That relative maybe your child is 5 years old and the relative has teenagers. What the teenagers are doing is not appropriate for this age of 5. So the children is learning things that they should not be learning at that age. And it is not the fault of the child or the teenager. The teenager are doing their things, the child is doing their thing. And what happens? There is no one to guide them because you have left them and you have gone. So this is not a very good thing, if you ask me. For me, my advice will be, when you take your children from this place to that place, what are the values in that other home? Do they align with your values? What happens in that other home? Do they align? I know we have dealt with so many children who have learned very many things from the places they go, especially the sexual learning. Yeah, so many have picked those behaviors from other places. Most of them is just seeing. Some have been initiated there. Some have practiced. Some have tried to it's called, let me try. It's called try. And let me tell the children here who are listening, the word try is very good, but in life there is nothing like try. It's doing. If I say today, let me try and smoke, am I really trying to smoke? I am smoking, and that might be the beginning of another addiction that could not have ever happened if you did not try, or if that child was never taken to another person's home. It does not mean that they can't learn these things from where they come from or from their homes, but the chances of them being exposed is higher than when they're home. Remember, when they go, they know you're not there. So they call it freedom.
All right.
Yeah, and they have they know that right now I can do this, mom is not here, dad is not here, and it's freedom for them.
All right. Catherine, do you share the same thoughts when it comes to bouncing our kids from one home to the other, and in most cases our relatives over the holidays?
I would want to say that is outdated. The level of exposure is very high, and unfortunately the bad things are the ones that sells. However, in life, we have 3 types of support systems. We have people, we have money, and we have time. People, money, and time. If the people where you're taking your children have good values like you, that can also be very helpful, because you're going to know that there's more life outside our compound. However, these people also can be damagers to your children, and we know today even the domestic managers are damaging our children in the comfort of our home. Then we have money. This holiday is long, and this holiday also comes with very many camps for children. And also, I'm sure we'll be able to see vocational Bible studies this long holiday. Can you sacrifice that shilling and take your children to those camps? Then we have this time, which I said, can we make sure that we plan ourselves, our children? Let me tell us this. If you do not sacrifice for what we need will become a sacrifice. Therefore, we must make sure that we sacrifice for our children. As my colleague has said, if I have to take my children to my parents' place, can I go there with them? Because, Jane, it is most unfortunate and very sad. Defilement is happening. We have heard of a grandfather who was defiling a girl together with the son. That means the grandfather and an uncle defiling this girl. So we must make sure, even as we bring our children together, as Africans, we are community-based. We'll still go and mingle. What we need to do is empower these children. Jane, I normally tell them, as we talk to our children about the head and the shoulders, let us not run to the knees. Let our children understand, I am a girl. The word of God tells me we have a young sister and her breasts are still small. What shall we do for them? So before you take them to meet the family, you have to give them three things. You have to give them information. You have to tell them your private part. I normally call them private manenos. Should not be manenos for anybody else. You have to give them information. You have to give them fact. The other time we were here, we had just commemorated HIV and AIDS, which is on the increase. So they have to know a little exposure brings HIV and AIDS. And as a Christian, we know it also brings demons. Then we have to give them warning. And Jane, I don't know how to talk without the word of God. The word of God tells me in the Proverbs 5:23, atakufa huyo kwa kukosa maonyo, naye ataangamia kwa wingi wa ujinga wake. So we take time to remove ujinga from the children. And you know, they think that we don't know anything. So we must make sure that we ground them very well, because they are our future.
All right. Now, that to another aspect and another reality that we're seeing so many families deal with in this day and time, and this is blended families. We have single parent homes, could be the mother or the father, and many variations of blended families. And for some, there are those that have gone the legal way. They have a parental responsibility agreement that clearly states out how the holidays are going to be spent. But for those families that do not have access to such guidelines on how to divide time with the kids over the holidays, and especially a holiday like this, what would be your advice for them, Mercy, considering the kid is at the center of this conversation and both parents would want to spend time with the child?
All right. Okay. On this case, we would say, let us take care of our parents. Let's take care of ourselves. Let me know, what do I want? How do I want it? We call it emotional intelligence.
Yes.
Once you take care of that, you will be able to manage whatever happens. Know, where am I? Who am I? At this moment, I am separated. And these are the reasons why we were separated. But we still have children here. We need to co-parent.
Yes.
What are the guidelines that are we going to put so that we're able to, the focus now here should leave you and go to the child. What is the best for this child? But you will not be able to do that until you are able, first of all, to understand yourself. Get to a place where I am fine, I am well mentally, I am able to handle this. If, no matter what happens on the other side, I am in control. There are things that are beyond our control, but you can be able to maneuver according to how they come up. Now, and the other parent, it's good to sit down and decide, this is how we are going to do this. And you look at the implications, the repercussions. If we do this, what will happen? Yeah. Don't focus so much on maybe what happened for you to separate, but now focus on the child.
Yes.
This is a holiday. This child needs to be with both parents. Maybe whatever happened was between me and you, but how do we bring in the child? The child will understand that I am not the reason for your separation, or for anything that is happening. Most of the time, we do things wrong, and this child start blaming themselves. It's like, I am the one who made you separate. I am the one who is not making you being able to be together. So it's good to make sure you help this child understand that they're not the ones who are causing this. So how do we go with this connection? How do we connect with this child as we are separate? There is the time together. How do we go about our time together? How do we show love without bringing our personal issues? Let this child have freedom to relate to the mother, freedom to relate father, and even freedom to relate to other siblings. Some of the time, siblings are separated. So once you put all these things together, you're able to help this child and even grow in a healthy environment. In future, they'll be able to be healthy adults.
Now, if it is a child who is at an age where they're able to comprehend the situation, would you advise involving them in just getting their opinions where they want to spend the first half of the holiday, the other half, their thoughts in regards to where they're going to be spending the holidays? Would you advise to involve them?
Yes, as a parent, it's good to listen to the child and guide. You are the guide.
Yes.
But it's good to listen to each and everything they say. And when you're listening, it's very important. Catherine talks about eyes that hear. Yeah? Listen with your ears. Listen with your eyes. Listen with your feelings. Listen to what is not being said. Even listen to the body language, because sometimes they might say this and they are doing the opposite. Have that a time to understand your child, and that way you'll be able to guide them, and it's going to be a win-win situation for everybody.
All right. Yes. Catherine, we have seen so many blended families. Some are very chaotic, some are very peaceful. We live in a reality where one parent will even go and steal the child from the other parent's home when the other parent is not home. Your advice for people who are in blended family situations that are seemingly not settled, and especially when it comes to who gets to spend the holiday with the child.
Before I talk about the blended, can I ask myself, as you're dating that person, please do not ignore any red flags. We live in a lie that I will change them when I marry them. Let me tell you, nobody can change anybody, only God can change. Now that you're already in this blended family, and you know they are very unique families because some of us are already married. I came with my children from that other marriage, and here we are, and dad would want to come and pick my children. We must do a working MOU. And then also we must need to understand that this child is very innocent. For this child, this is daddy. It doesn't matter what mommy and yourself did, but we must also make sure that the safety of this child comes number one.
Yes.
Because we know of children that have gotten messed in the tags between the parents. So at whatever decisions that you're making, can we make them from the point of the child? What is the best out for this child? And then also, you know, Jane, we can lose this child in between my home and Mr. Karira's home, because I don't know what the moral standard of this my ex-boyfriend or whatever, because as the child goes there for 50 days, what are they being exposed to? So can we also make sure as parents that even as we in somebody that can babysit for us, we know that they have the interest of the children at home. We must make sure that we take care of the emotional wellness of these children, because if we damage them fighting in between the two of us, we are going to lose this child. I would want to say something. Can the daddies agree and the mothers agree who is the best to take care of these children? Don't be selfish. Do not just want to tag along with your child and show that we are making it. If you know that daddy can make better, can we have the child more with daddy? If it is mommy, can we have there? And remember the support system. If you have other siblings, can you bring them on? But as you bring them on, please make sure that you don't compromise the security of your child. They normally say security is as easy as A, B, C. Always be careful. So in parenting, we have to be very careful. Even in blended parent families, we have to be very careful, because children are the only living resource that we have.
All right. Now that brings me to the whole disciplining aspect, because I am sure hii holiday haitaisha kama mtoto hajashamorwa. You know, and let me start with you, Mercy. You know, for some parents, we always let our kids get away with everything. Smako holiday, wacha atulie, wacha amke sanya nataka, wacha mwage maji, wacha cheze na maji. When it comes to disciplining kids during this holiday, what are some of the do's and don'ts that you would advise parents to do, and of course based on the ages of these kids while they're at home?
All right. Discipline is very important, because without discipline, nothing happens. Everything is chaotic. Now, let's start with the small kids. The small children, unfortunately, even us, the way we learned things, I'm sure so many things you didn't learn because you are told, this is a book, this is a pen. No, we were taught in a very different way. Most likely you were parents' book and they said, wachana na hiyo kitabu. So we don't learn in kindness. all the time we start learning by it's
fear.
Like it's fear. Yeah. So what that is how you learn that is a book and that is a pen. So with a very small one, even when you're disciplining, if the child is touching your book, just go to them and tell them, this is mommy's book and you should not write on it. You should ask. Let us change how we discipline our children. If you discipline them in kindness, they will grow in kindness, even when they're asking. But if you keep on doing the thing we've been doing from before, that is when they grow older, unless you shout at them, they will not stop doing something. Because that is how it started from when they were very young. Yes. The other thing is, with the small ones, teach them how to use the kind words as well. If they are talking to you, you're doing something, let them not come in between. Those are the very the very, I don't know what to call it, the basic of discipline. Yes. It starts with please, excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah. Then we go to the other discipline, to the other level, where there are rules and regulation. In your house, they should know, if this is done like this, I will not be happy, and there has to be consequences. How you do that, again, you should be very careful. I'm a mental health advocate, and I know most of the time we discipline our children from how we feel. I've come home, I am tired, I am so exhausted, and I've found my child has done something wrong. What will happen is, I will not discipline them the way it should be done. I will be unleashing all my anger and frustration on that child. They will not understand what you are trying to say. Will only interpret it the wrong way. The security of your child, they normally say security is as easy as A, B, C. Always be careful. So in parenting, we have to be very careful. Even in blended parent families, we have to be very careful, because children are the only living resource that we have.
All right. Now that brings me to the whole disciplining aspect, because I am sure hii holiday haitaisha kama mtoto hajashamorwo. You know, and let me start with you, Mercy. You know, for some parents, we always let our kids get away with everything. Smako holiday, wacha atulie, wacha amke sanyanataka, wacha mwage maji, wacha cheze na maji. When it comes to disciplining kids during this holiday, what are some of the do's and don'ts that you would advise parents to do, and of course based on the ages of these kids while they're at home? All right. Discipline is very important, because without discipline, nothing happens. Everything is chaotic. Now, let's start with the small kids. The small children, unfortunately, even us, the way we learned things, I'm sure so many things you didn't learn because you are told, this is a book, this is a pen. No, we were taught in a very different way. Most likely you were parents' book and they said, wachana na hiyo kitabu. So we don't learn in kindness. All the time we start learning by it's fear. Like it's fear. Yeah. So wachana na hiyo kitabu, that is how you learn that is a book and that is a pen. So with a very small one, even when you're disciplining, if the child is touching your book, just go to them and tell them, this is mommy's book and you should not write on it. You should ask. Let us change how we discipline our children. If you discipline them in kindness, they will grow in kindness, even when they're asking. But if you keep on doing the thing we've been doing from before, that is when they grow older, unless you shout at them, they will not stop doing something. Because that is how it started from when they were very young. The other thing is, with the small ones, teach them how to use the kind words as well. If they are talking to you, you're doing something, let them not come in between. Those are the very the very, I don't know what to call it, the basic of discipline. It starts with please, excuse me, I'm sorry. Yeah. Then we go to the other discipline, to the other level, where there are rules and regulation. In your house, they should know, if this is done like this, I will not be happy, and there has to be consequences. How you do that, again, you should be very careful. I'm a mental health advocate, and I know most of the time we discipline our children from how we feel. I've come home, I am tired, I am so exhausted, and I've found my child has done something wrong. What will happen is, I will not discipline them the way it should be done. I will be unleashing all my anger and frustration on that child. They will not understand what you are trying to say. They will only interpret it the wrong way. You hate me, you've just come in, you don't know how I've been, you've just hit me, so know how to do it. Do I need to calm down first before I deal with this? That is how discipline should be administered. The other thing, you have to be very firm. Very firm and consistent. Today you don't say this and do the other thing. If it is like this, let it be like that. If it is not done that way,
it's good to hear from the other side, why is it not happening?
Yes.
And then if it's something that needs to be adjusted, let it be adjusted. If it is something that is not being followed, then there is a bit of discipline that will happen. We all have different ways. Yes, we have different ways of disciplining.
Yes.
It's not all the time you use the cane. I don't advocate for the cane, but sometimes it goes to that extreme.
Yes.
But find a way, how do you discipline your children and stick to it. Otherwise, if you do this and this, they will find like like if you say nitakuchapa na hauchapi, are you getting my point? I'm not saying chapa your child. I'm just giving an example. Okay. So you have to be very firm.
Now, let me come to you, Catherine, still on that discipline aspect, but now bringing also money as a factor, and especially on your side as a parent, because kids now want to go all out. They want to go to all these fun activities. They want to go out. They want to go shopping. Wanataka shopping at the next grade already. As a parent, how do you also discipline yourself and have those conversations with your kids when money is a sensitive issue and it comes and goes? How do you handle this?
Let me pick it up from what my colleague has said. She has said she doesn't love the cane. I love the rod. Because good, I love the rod. The word of God tells me that children naturally do say careless things, but a good spanking and is sparked by the rod. Rod stands for right of discipline. Parents, we have a right to discipline our children, and our children have a right to be disciplined. Parents, let us love our children very much so that we can be able to correct them. Love and correction goes together, and discipline and discipling go together. I know they have come home, and they want to buy everything that is possible for them. We need to sit down with them, and we need them to understand that we are battling a pandemic. We still have lost our jobs because of COVID, so we can only manage to do with what we have. Children, when our parents tell us no, it is also they are telling us they love us. So if our parents cannot afford all what you need, please make sure you don't go out looking for it from out there. I normally tell them, Jane, they are not stuck at home, they are safe at home. So even if the money is not coming, can we go as what Jane has told us? Can we have the basic? If we have a shelter, if we have clothing, and we have a meal on the table, that is a basic, then we sit and we trust. Children, let me tell you this, being rebellious will not help you. It only hardens you, and you're going to break. Parents, children here, children are not a book like this. So you just need to tell them, and tell them in advance. Tell them, yes, you have a book list to do, and you have all the clothes that you want to buy. Can we buy the book list? Then you go and better your grades to become better. Children, we must help our children because we know economically we know very well. And children, how can we help our children? Sorry, children, how can we help our parents? I normally call it 4 B's. Behave, become, better, to be the best. So even when mommy says a no, know that no is coming with kindness and with love. And you know, love without rebuke is an abuse. So parents, even as we love them, we must rebuke them. However, rebuke without love is an abuse. We must to rebuke them from a point of love. And nobody will ever die for not being smacked. However, parents, do not kill your children with the rod. The rod, I have said, it is a right of discipline. Let us love these children. They are very innocent anyway. All right. I think that's a good point to end this conversation, but not before we read some feedback in regards to this conversation. Remember, we are still using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya at KBC's official station handle. I have Kituru here who is saying, spare the rod, spoil the child. But of course, moderation is always key. Again, agreeing with just what you are saying. Liz saying, the holidays are a free pass for so many kids to misbehave, especially wakienda kwa shushu. Parents do better. Joe saying, I love this conversation, very timely. We need to do more, especially for our kids during this holiday. It's not a time to bounce them homes, especially during this pandemic. Again, echoing just some of the thoughts that we have expressed here in this discussion. Let me see one more. Wamiti, what are you saying? Okay, he has gone ahead to give a whole analogy. Let me try and get the gist of this particular message. Yes. Okay.
basically, he's going about saying parents also need to understand that sometimes your children's behavior is not a manifestation of your failure as a parent. Yeah, I think that's clear. Sometimes your kids' behavior, sometimes they're just hard-headed. Kwanza toddlers. Toddlers are savage. Thank you, Joy Robin, for retweeting. We appreciate that. I see Morris Muhindi. Who else? Elda Oyugi. Thank you so much for sharing with us your thoughts in regards to this very sensitive conversation, all about just trying to manage the anxiety during this holiday. And as we close, maybe what would be your closing remarks, Marcy, as we bring this conversation to a close, to both parents and those kids who might be watching us this morning?
Right. I know I really love using the 3 C's. We have a chance. The first C is a chance.